Okay, folks, just got on top of the hour, so I think let's kick off the session. So record is on. Hey, for away. So Eugene, are you ready to blow us away this morning, or what's happening on your side?
I'm not going to lie, I'm just a little bit behind. I just need today just to wrap up a little bit more, and then yeah, I'll share a little bit more tomorrow morning if that's okay.
Fantastic, no problem, thanks. All right, good. So what's news, people? Where are we? Dawn?
Why is Eugene so slow?
Cold front coming in, and you know what us Durbanites are like, eh?
I do, yeah. Listen, if I can just put some input in the oven.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was just going through everything that we're doing. I had a look at the simple about copy, had a look at the PowerPoint, all on large TV screens over the weekend. And I don't know who the designer is, but this stuff is blooming brilliant. So I want to advise you folk, take our virtual trade fair collateral and put it onto a large TV screen and see what that does for you. I can see Dawn, she just watches on her TV screen all the time, right, Dawn?
Sometime, Trevor.
Okay, but really, I did it for the first time this weekend because I've been working off the laptop screen. And what it showed me is that the power of size, and also that we've got to be thinking simplicity. I was watching a huge amount of input from worldwide experts on how the game of life and business has completely changed with this COVID-19, and that the vast majority of people in business are sitting on their thumbs and they're thinking that we're going to go back to normal. It's not going to happen. That unless, and I don't know where it's going to go. These guys are way smarter than I am. They're scientists and they're doctors and they got degrees arm's length long, but all I can analyze is not one of them understand what the hell this COVID-19 virus or coronavirus is all about. And if you start having a look at what's going on, I mean, I heard a discussion of guys in the airline business who are at the top of their game in the airline business. And they believe that 80% of airlines could disappear. 80%. So wow. If that leaves only 20% of airlines in the marketplace, they reckon the bulk of traffic where people used to fly before, they're not going to be flying. And when you start listening to what these experts are saying, you realize that this world has completely changed, and we've got people worrying about going to buy cigarettes, for goodness sake. So go back and have a look at what we're about. Virtual Trade Fair is so simple. It's allowing you to balance between a defensive play and an offensive play in business. So I love the fact that we can do what we're doing. And I'm getting ready for the offensive, but I'm also in defensive mode. So I showed Ivan how my whole boardroom has completely changed. Okay, my boardroom is now, it's physical and virtual at the same time. I've upgraded to actually playing a game outside of the office and inside the office over the next, Dawn, how long am I going to be around on this planet?
Still about another 35 years, 40 years.
So why are you writing me off so soon?
Oh, you see, okay.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? What do you normally say, Dawn? Age is only a what?
Age is only a number, Trevor.
Of course, yes. But look, in all seriousness, we've got to keep this simple. Virtual Trade Fair is something that developed between ourselves 60 odd days ago from nowhere, given the experience that Irene and Dawn and Alex had in the exhibition industry. And then it was simplified down into a simple structure, 1, 2, 3. how do we use this to bridge the gap between an industry and a marketing exhibition, virtual mall industry almost completely wiped out overnight, and allowing them the opportunity to start doing something, what is it? Not aggressively. That's not what I want to. Proactively. That's the word that I want.
Yeah.
Be proactive instead of sitting on your thumbs. And that's what I think we've got right. And all I want to do, especially for Eugene, and having a look at his fantastic work that he did there, and he sent through that. I hope everyone saw that. I think it's a fantastic direction to go in, but keep it simple. What are the 1, 2, 3 simple things that people are going to need in business to be both defensive and offensive at the same time? So that's exciting me. I haven't heard me this morning on Wisdoms. None of you were there. And he realized that I happened to get out the toilet for a while, or maybe I got into the toilet and did some thinking. Ivan, what are your thoughts, Ivan?
Yeah, I was saying to folk this morning, I've managed to keep Trevor locked down for 60 days, but he's now busting to get out, even if it is only virtually. So, yeah, we've managed to contain him thus far, but I think the tidal wave is about to hit. The tsunami.
Yeah, I've been very well behaved, but okay, let me behave again. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to mute myself.
No, I think it's all good. So I see Desiree has joined us as well. That's great. How's it, Desiree? How are you doing? Desiree, are you with us? There she is.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can, yeah.
Okay. I'm good, guys. How are you doing?
Ooh, sounding very very far away.
Let me disconnect the headphones. I've got headphones on.
Struggling to get you there, Desiree. So we'll come back to you just now. All right,
Okay.
great. So let's so Eugene, I think this is probably the first time you've heard Trevor go off like this. So what are your thoughts on what he's just said, and you know, any other feelings that or thoughts that you've had over the weekend about where we're heading with this thing?
Yeah, actually quite excited about it all now. You know, there were some challenges, but I had some interesting feedback over the weekend, and I've actually had 1 or 2 phone calls come in asking about this virtual trade fair. You know, because you know, sharing it on Facebook and other platforms, and also just word of mouth. And so, yeah, I'm going to start sharing a little bit more with the guys because there is now, I think, the realization that this is the way to go. You know, obviously, yeah, they are looking at it from other perspectives. So it is a positive thing at the moment. And I think just with what we're doing, I think we are heading in the right direction. You know, just educating everyone out there and sharing the information with them. It's spreading, and I think that's the way to go. So yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff. So I mean, what are the sort of perspectives that you're getting? What is the feedback you're getting from these folk that are now coming out of the social media woodwork, as it were?
Well, you know, with exhibitions and events, and you know, able to have the one-on-one or the face-to-face norm, if you want to call it that. You know, they obviously need to look at other ways in terms of revenue for their companies, and you know, try and keep everybody on board. So, you know, one of the things that actually came up was they advertise, one of the areas that they're advertising is newspapers, which was quite interesting. You know, and we were just talking about the different generations. You know, younger generations don't use newspapers, and it's all digital. And then he actually commented and said, you know, they cater for all types of generations. And he says that quite a big amount actually comes out of newspapers, but, you know, it's not, they've got to take it further. And he says he's also got to educate his clients now in terms of, you know, when they order products and that it's online. So he's also working from his side in terms of selling his company and his product, but on online platform. So it was quite a nice conversation that we had, and it just changed my perspective as well, which was really good. You know, in terms of how to look at things, looking at it from all perspectives, which was quite exciting.
Great. Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. I think it's great input, Trevor. Yeah.
I just wanted to bounce back on that comment because I think what we have done here is to turn around and say, none of us know where the hell markets and economies are going. Okay, I defy anyone to actually make a prediction right now of what's going on. So when you hear a comment like that about how I used to go into newspapers, etc., the beauty is that, yeah, you can go into newspapers and you can be testing other things and you can bring your newspapers onto this platform and vice versa. We've got to be bringing these things together. And that's where, Eugene, I'd love you to be playing around with this defensive and offensive. The defensive side is you take what you know that works well, the 30, 40 years you've been in the newspaper business or in the exhibition business, you bring those skills on board. You advertise those skills or you exhibit those skills in the virtual trade fair, and then you use the virtual trade fair, the learnings, to actually take back into your experience. So you're adding these things together on a cost-effective, affordable platform, offensive and defensive. That's where my head is going with this concept.
Good. See, we have Desiree and company now online. So we try and cut across to you and see if we can hear you this time.
Can you hear me this time?
That sounds much better.
Okay, thank you. I'm currently at the office for the company that I work with regards to selling slabs that he invented. So I was telling him about getting onto the virtual trade fair, and he's obviously interested. This is Freddie. He works with the inventor himself. Bentley will be here with us shortly, and they sell a beam system that is originally patented and obviously from discovered by them. It's a system that doesn't need to be propped, and it's a system that is going to change engineering, because instead of the 21 days, you only wait 3 days as well. So it saves a lot of money, and also the usage of props, and use far less concrete. So this would be a great platform for him, because at the end of the day, what companies are doing now is also getting onto e-commerce sites. So it's not only about just the marketing, but also being able to access products online and incorporate it into a courier system where they can just distribute them, because I feel like that might be where we might be going in terms of distributing products that are being sold. So this would obviously be a great platform, obviously extendedly the mall as well, because this means that they would be able to sell their products beyond just the virtual trade fair as well. And yeah, so they are interested as well.
Desiree, where's Freddie's mask?
Ask him.
Yeah, it's on the table.
When you sneezed, I ducked. Did you see that?
Yeah, sorry, it's on the table.
That's great, Freddie. Welcome. And yeah, I'd love to hear a bit more about your product and your business. But obviously, I don't know how much of the sort of preceding discussion you managed to hear with you trying to get set up on your side there. But did you manage to listen in on what we were chatting about just now?
Not everything, no. We just started now listening to what you guys were discussing.
All right. So what has Desiree told you so far about the virtual trade fair, and what is your understanding of it? And then, do you have any questions, currently that come to mind which we can try and answer for you?
Well, she doesn't go into all depth of what the virtual market is about, but maybe you guys can explain to me properly what it's all about, and how does it work.
No, listen, Ivan, if I can come in, I'm not explaining a thing to Freddie. I want to find out who this Freddie is. So tell us a little bit about your engineering operation and how many people you reach, Freddie. Is this your operation?
No, it's not mine. It's my boss's operation, Bentley. He's currently running it. I just started now a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I just trying to help him reach more people, because at the moment it's kind of hard to reach a wider, how can I put it, market for the beads or the ribbon block. So we need to
so can I just ask you, I mean, you're young with the organization, so how many people does this company actually reach? Just, you know, roughly give us an idea, so that we can all think through what is the process to actually work out whether we should be on Virtual Trade Fair Africa or not. So what do you know about the company? Roughly how many people does it connect? Oh, that looks like a boss man.
Yes, this is the boss.
I suddenly got a fright. Who have we got there?
Bentley.
Bentley.
Yeah.
Hello, Bentley. Is that your car's name or your name?
No, that's my name.
All right, and your car, you bought a couple like that as well.
I wish.
So Bentley, my name is Trevor Nell. I'm one of the developers of Virtual Trade Fair Africa. There are a couple all around here, and we just come online at 12 o'clock to 12:30 just to answer any questions, etc. But let me ask you, you've been in the game how long, Bentley?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so just in a nutshell, what is it you do?
I invented a system, a non-propping system of concrete slabs. And we've been promoting it and pushing it. And then we found that the plastering of the polystyrene underneath was very complicated and difficult. So I developed a plaster which sticks to the polystyrene.
All right.
And then after that, I developed a colored plaster to plaster walls with.
Okay, and
those are the three products.
Okay, so if I can ask you, Bentley, are you an engineer?
No, I'm not.
So how did you develop this thing?
I'm an ex-farmer.
An ex-farmer. Okay, that's a problem. But we'll come back to that later. Now, Bentley, prior to the lockdown period, what were you doing sales-wise on this system?
Well, last year we did a turnover of 5 million rand.
5 mil on this system, and that was generated through how many customers? You know, just give me a rough thumbs up so I can get an idea of how you operate.
It's probably about 300.
About 300. And describe them for me. What type of business, what size of business are they? Take 3 or 4, just to give me an idea of what the typical type of customer is.
Okay, generally speaking, homeowners.
Homeowners.
Then we had a couple of factories. We most probably had about 10, 12 factories that we did. 4 builders.
All right. So where do the homeowners purchase the product from?
From the website. They send
from the website.
Quite request on the website.
So you go direct. So you're not through the builder's warehouse distribution channels and all that sort of thing.
No.
Okay. So again, let's think prior to lockdown. What then would have been your biggest challenge or your biggest frustration?
Marketing is the biggest challenge. Marketing.
This guy Freddie, this guy Freddie, what's he been doing?
I just started a couple of months ago. So before lockdown,
okay. No, but you notice that we're at a distance here. That's why I'm able to have a go at you, Freddie. Just so you can't punch me across the table. All right. All right. So yes, of course, Bentley, you've got a new product. It looks exciting. It's generated 5 million. Was that last year alone? You did 5 million.
Only last year.
Only last year. And the number of clients that generated that, is it the same 300 you were talking about?
That was only last year.
Through the 300 clients.
Yeah.
So Ivan, quick calculation, how much are we doing per client on average?
I would say just over 100,000 rand. Probably 125,000 average. But I don't
Right.
think it's quite 300 clients for just for last year. Probably around about
All right.
200.
All right. And the way that you've been getting out to your marketplace is you put up a website, but how do these people find you?
Search networks.
Okay. And that's where Desiree comes in, and you're starting to open up some things. Is that correct, Desiree?
Yeah, well, he's been using the Google AdWords. Previously, I tried to introduce him to Facebook marketing, and we're trying to build a campaign around that, as well as LinkedIn as well. So I'm also
Okay.
going to do his content management and all his marketing material. And I'm trying to get him affiliated with Proudly South African, just so that he's recognized in general.
So you've got a great story, clearly, because Desiree wouldn't be interested in you if you didn't have a great story that she could share online. That I'm aware of. And then, what happened to your business from the time that lockdown hit, Bentley?
Shut it down.
It shut it down completely.
Well, we weren't manufacturing anymore, but we
Okay,
carried
so-
on advertising and quoting.
And did that advertising generate interest, or is the market interest shut down as well?
No, we found that we had a lot of engagement
Yeah.
with LinkedIn and Facebook.
But then the problem is obviously because we're in lockdown, we can't go and install. So that's where the problem lies. And also another thing, a lot of homeowners that had solid jobs previously in the past couple of weeks, those things are now changing. People are losing jobs, salary cuts. So that's also changing a lot of stuff as well.
And so could you have a new market? Is that you, Ivan, wanted to come on board? So could you have a new market that you might be targeting?
Not really. We've been targeting developers for quite a while. One of our problems are engineers. The moment the developer goes to his engineer and says, we've got a new product, have a look at it. They say, well, let's stay with what we know. So there are a few engineers which use our products and which promote it. But generally speaking, most engineers say, wow, this is fantastic. Let's stay with what we know.
But that's because the engineers, I mean, I'm an engineer. We want to stick to what is safe. Hence, I was saying, if he's affiliated with all the proper certifying bodies, and I know as an engineer that I don't have to do background check because large institutions and recognized certifying bodies already recognize it, there wouldn't be an issue for engineers to come on board. So the problem is actually to get the engineer to even look at your system, which is
So
unlikely.
I'm not catching you because the sound is just breaking up. It might be the distance that you're away from there, Desiree.
Yeah.
But just if I'm trying to get the gist, are you saying you want to break into the engineers and educate them on the product, or are you saying you want to stick to the market of homeowners?
I'm saying that we need to break into the markets, but also we need to also keep our markets, our homeowners market, because most of our sales come from here. So we can't move away from that. And the challenge that we're facing with engineering is that in general, engineers are scared of starting things that they're not used to, because we deal with structural integrity and stuff like that, and it's stuff that's been proven for years and years.
So this. So
it's better if we get him to be an inventor
and engineers love inventors, so they'd love the story behind it, and they'd love to prove whether this works or whether it doesn't work. I mean, I know how your mind works. Okay, now, Desiree, this plays into the discussion that I opened with. That over the weekend, the virtual trade fair, what it offers to individuals is to be able to play defensive. In other words, knowing the market that you knew well prior to lockdown, and then also playing on the offensive. If that market has changed, how you can actually go and dabble in that market. So the offensive play I would play with Virtual Africa is to turn around and say, can I identify 100 target engineering clients that I want to get in front of? And then use Virtual Trade Fair Africa to invite them into the digital auditorium conference room and get them to discuss this thing. What you want is 100 engineering firms to say, no, this is rubbish, but at least have them talking about it. And then you go after another 200 or 300. But you've got to play offensive.
Would you say that it would be also best if we get like an engineer to be a speaker?
Absolutely.
To invite the engineering group.
Yep. And that's your offensive play. And then you've got to work out in Virtual Trade Fair, okay, who's the market potential I want to go after? And if it's homeowners, you've got to find homeowners that are able to support themselves and support the use of the product. So you've got to tell them why it's a smart thing and what the specials are for coming on board. And then you pre-sell specials while we're in lockdown phase so that they buy it now and you deliver it later. Perfect. There's smart ways to do that, and you use Virtual Trade Fair to do that. Okay. So I know we're almost at the bottom of the hour, but there are 3 things I just want you to understand about this. Number one, we've got a PowerPoint presentation that Freddie must have a look at. He's a specialist in sales. I can already see the look in his eyes. I want him to criticize us on that PowerPoint presentation and come back online tomorrow at 12:30 and tell us whether it works for him or it doesn't. All right? Because I know, because I pushed his buttons, I know he's going to push my buttons now. And that's how we improve. And Freddie, then you've got to turn around to us and say, okay, I like what you guys are talking about. This is how we can utilize it in our business to help us to get out to a potential market. Would you do that for us?
Yeah, I can try.
You would? Okay, great. And I think then you'll find it's quite simple. We've designed this to be simple. We've designed it to be affordable, and we've designed it to be cost effective. And I'd love someone to disprove any one of those things so that we can actually tweak it to make certain we live up to our promise.
Okay. I'll take a look at it when you send it to me. Yeah.
Good.
Right. So obviously, Desiree, you've got Freddie's email address. I don't think we have. So you need to get us through that. So we can get that to him if you don't have it, and just pass it on to him. But yeah, just maybe connect us with the guys so we can send them the information. Yes, Trevor.
I'd just like to have a chat to Dawn and Irene afterwards, just unrelated to this. If you could stick around, then we can just double up on this meeting. All right, yeah. So just one small correction, Trevor. It's at 12 tomorrow, not 12:30. Between 12 and 12:30, you said at 12:30. So let's make sure we get that one right. But yeah, hopefully, Freddie and Bentley, you've got a little bit of extra insight. Obviously, time is short. We're just doing this for half an hour every day. So really appreciate you guys coming on today, and love to chat with you further. And hopefully we can see you tomorrow. Go into additional details and answer any other questions, and unless there's something that either yourself, Freddie, or Bentley would like to ask right now before we end off the session.
No, not at the moment. No, not from me.
No, not really. Are you with the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes.
We're with the Fourways Chamber of Commerce, yeah. So yeah.
They are the Commerce Chamber.
So okay. Yeah, Trevor and myself are 2 of the founding members of the Fourways Community Chamber of Commerce, and the Virtual Trade Fair is a project that's come out of that environment since the beginning of lockdown. So, and Dawn and Irene are part of the team that helped us put this all together. So yeah, this is all coming out of the chamber. Yeah.
Okay, well that's fun.
We like old experienced guys to join us, Bentley. That's why I'm after Freddie there.
I'll be old one day.
You will. Okay. Bentley, come on board and share your experience with us, man. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, folks.
guys.
Well, thanks so much for joining the session today, and yeah, we'll look forward to chatting further tomorrow. And in the meantime, we'll see if we can get you some of that additional info so you can go through it for tomorrow. So have a great day further, and we'll chat again tomorrow. Cheers, guys.
Thank
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.